Welcome back, folks, to Nick's Collectible Creations. In this video, I'm going to be taking a look at the all-new re-release Toyota Supra MPC Round 2. Right here, goodness, it was at Hobby Lobby, which shocked me. This kit is something that I have been hoping that they would re-release for a long time, since I had the original kit when I was a kid, and I've been hoping that they would re-release it because, you know, it's kind of expensive, hard to find kit. Although sadly, the price of models, basically probably could find a vintage kit for cheaper. So this was $35 with the 40% off, so it was like 21 something. Yeah, they're getting expensive, but let's take a look at this and compare it to my original one. So let's get started. All right, so the first thing you can tell is, besides the glare of my light here, they did the recreation of the vintage packaging, although as you can see it is a little bit more contrasty. The colors pop a lot more. Let's see the other differences here and just the box art. Looks like they copied this down here. It does not say molded in sparkling blue, so I'm really kind of curious about that. The size of the boxes are a little different. Just, you know, interesting stuff to note. Also, they got the sides backwards here. And you can see there, to get to here, they're backwards. This is actually on that side. So, and we're no longer getting free model kits if we send several of these in, so that's a bummer. They should bring that back given the cost of these kits. Looks to me like they were able to reproduce the original photos. Probably bought an original kit. Interesting here. Wide radial tires on custom or stock wheels. That's in a different place. So yeah, they did redo the text in some places, but they copied it pretty well from the original. This says molded in white. Okay. Bright plated parts. All right, well, let's go ahead and take a look at this, open it up, and see what's inside. Very rough texture to it. And yes, it is indeed in white. Wow, okay. Let's just do this. Okay, so we have wheels on top. Looks like the original ones to me. Everything is in that packaging there. Okay. We got some tail lips there. Tail lights, yes, I know. I'm having fun with the English language, folks. And some tires. Feels like the kind of same tires that came in the MPC kit. And let's take a look at the decals, which you can't until you open them. So I guess I'll take a look at that when I'm actually at the stage where I might want to put them on there. Let's take a look at the destructions here. And we do have a painting guide. I don't know if the original destructions are in the box there, but nice 80s logo here. Looks like basically the same manual, just reproduced. We'll find out. It smells new. And that's all that we have in the box. So I'm gonna get the parts out of their bags and We'll take a look at some of the parts here, compare it to the original one, but I have a feeling it's probably going to be basically the same, I guess, here. So just not molded in blue. That's kind of what I thought. Oh. Oh. Okay, so this is definitely not a Toyota Supra. This is one of my old original Knight Rider cars here. Ah, that's a nice fail, isn't it? But here's a fender flare. And you can see it molded in that sparkling blue metallic that, of course, didn't match the box, color on the box. The one thing I can tell you, though, is there's another one there. I know I've got the kit somewhere. I guess I got it in a different box. But I do see here, though, is a windshield. The original one was tinted. So, because that's in there. And it says Toyota, so that's how I'm pretty sure that that's what that is. There's some tail lights. Here. Huh. Wow. All right, let me go see if I can find the right kit. Because that's not it, but we see at least a little bit of parts in there nonetheless. Okay, I found it. Apparently I put parts in the plastic bin here that was right under my desk. So here's one of the parts trees, I believe. Original parts trees, it looks to me like, because it's in that sparkling blue. Yee-hoo! The back window grate, whatever they called those things back then. And see, here's what's kind of sort of in a junkyard state. At some point I stripped it. I guess I'll have to put this back in the box. Something is not right here. These are all jammed together. What the heck? That's kind of concerning. But, okay, so, yeah. The junkyard version and the new version, side by side. Okay. Well, let's get to building the new one, because I'm kind of itching to do that. You know, it's just going to be a good thing to do, right? Haven't built the kit for a little while on this channel, so it's time to get back into it right in time before Christmas, right? Okay, so the first thing I noticed about this, pulling it out of the bag that kind of looked like it was, cereal bag, is the plastic on this is very glossy. The body, the hood is what stood out to me when I was pulling it out. We'll just get all this crap out of the way here. Very glossy. There's one or two little, I don't know, spots that are kind of dull, I guess is the word I'm looking for. But, you know, the cowl induction on the center, you know, this part right here, this thing, this goes on top of this. That's really nice and glossy too. I mean, if you wanted a white Supra, you really probably don't have to paint it. I imagine that might buff out with some plastic polish. But here's the fender flares. Something I like about the old MPC kits, a lot of the Corvettes, Dodges, the 80s kits, a lot of them, they did these custom fender flares on their kits, and I always thought that was really cool. It's one of the reasons why I like the old MPC kits. These look like they're done pretty good. Thing I notice here about these, and I don't know if this is because of molding, as in the molding on the trim itself, on the body shell, you know, the molding down here, or if this is a molding defect of the process of molding the part from the factory. But I notice you see this little, let me see if I can get it up there. There's like a little ziggy-zaggy thing right here in each of the corners. Hopefully that's just for the body trim to go around. And we got the body here. They've got the body inserted into the interior, but it's backwards. So there you go. We can just pop that right out of there. Now obviously you could build this without the fender flares and without the bulge in the hood. This again is very glossy, very smooth plastic. There's a little bit of a dull, and you can see a little line right here. It's a little dullness right there. Probably could polish that again if you wanted to leave it white. This part is broke on mine. That's the little thing is for where the, it's either the interior or the chassis. Yeah, that's where the chassis would clip into right there. That's broken, so not a big deal, but it is what it is. Got a little flash hang out there. Actually, the flash is really pretty low on this body. I'm happy. I don't see any flash lines along the edges like some kits have. Everything, the little flash here, that's easy to take care of and not have to do body work. That's what slows you down is when you got to do body work on a kit. You know, go through and I shave the corners if they've got mold lines along here. This one may actually, now I say that, it might have a little bit right there. But if it's got, you got to go through it and go back, and if your shaving looks okay, then you shouldn't need to sand it out. But if you kind of, get a nick or something in it, then you're going to have to do body work, and that just slows the whole enchilada down. So the less time you got to spend on prepping the body because of mold errors is more time that goes into the rest of it, and the faster you get your kit done. I wonder if this still says, yeah, it does still say Fun Divisions, 1983. Fun Divisions was a corporation that in the 80s owned MPC. It still says it. I'm surprised, actually. I thought they would have changed that to say Round 2, but they didn't. Made in USA. I don't think so. Let me just see if it says that on the box. Well, it says designed in the USA. Yeah, that's kind of funny. Well, cool. Our seats are 2 pieces. That's something MPC liked to do back in the day. Have 2-piece seats. The lumbar, the side bolsters there, all that fun stuff. Kind of like mine, but mine's not quite as prominent, I guess. My 87 Supra. So I already know what the part colors are going to be because of my car. The engine is black. Everything else is black. Toyota didn't, Japanese cars in general don't have flashy colors under the hood for their engines like Chevy, Ford, Dodge did for a while. It was just black, aluminum valve covers. I'll have to look at pictures of the Mark II since mine's a Mark III, but I think the Mark II still had the red stripes on the valve covers. I'll double check that though. But yeah, all this stuff is black unless the undercoating has come off. that these are all undercoated black. So the only thing under here that's silver is the exhaust. Everything is black. The gas tank, everything. Steering, everything. Unless you're someone who's wanting to model some stuff that might be performance add-ons, then you might paint stuff to kind of look like that. But factory stock, this just was all black. So basically, you know, this parts tree, the interior is going to be blue. I could spray this all in one shot. All of these parts, I could spray all of this black, because the steering wheels are black too. Black. I'll just paint this silver. The exhaust as one. I might add a little bit of weathering to the catalytic converter just to kind of make it look like it's been heated up a little bit. But for the most part, the shield's gonna still be, you know, silver, I guess. Might be a little dulled. The exhaust over the years is going to have a little bit of a, not really rust, but it's going to kind of have a discoloration to it. It depends on how old you're wanting to model, I guess. But yeah, that's, if you want to build it in custom colors, go ahead. But the fan should be white with, if I remember correctly, the fan clutch, you can see the fan clutch to the front of the fan. The fan blade's attached to the clutch, so to make this realistic, the center of it should be silver and then leave the fan blades white. So that's what I'm going to do. There's not really a whole lot of parts here. This is not a complicated kit. It looks to me like all the moldings here are really clean. So I'm glad to see that. Again, very glossy plastic. Even these pieces, it's very glossy. So I'm going to get to cutting, gluing, and then we'll get to painting. My favorite part is to paint. So we'll be back for that in just a second. So I was looking at the rear end here, and this isn't quite exactly accurate to the real car. This is one of those places where they really kind of took a shortcut on this. So these are supposed to be springs right here. These Mark II Supras, Celica Supras, what they were called. They had coil springs right here, and then shock absorbers on the other side. They hadn't figured out that whole strut thing at that time, I guess. The differential is held in back here, but not by a thing that looks like this. It's actually a cross member, I guess you call it. Goes across here and holds it. It's bolted physically to the frame, that cross member, but it doesn't, in reality, this isn't real. So they took a little bit of a shortcut there. I don't know if they didn't know what that was supposed to be, or if this was just, no one's going to see it anyway. Let's just make it as easy as we possibly can. But this is the danger of working on cars, knowing things about cars, is that you see how accurate the kits are, and then you find little things like this that's like, that's not right. Okay, so here's another pause in the construction process. I just wanted to point out that at this stage, I'm putting the front suspension parts together. I have the strut wheel assembly, axle assemblies glued into place, and I put the chassis here, I put it into the body so that I could get the pins at the top there aligned to where they go into the body. So I won't have to worry about that once everything is all dry and painted, and I have to cut stuff and rework it and blah blah blah. Get that aligned now, and we're good to go. I also got the drive shaft in there. I glued it and I set it on some stuff so that it's kind of where I think it's going to end up needing to be once the transmission and engine are in place. We'll see. There's going to be a little bit of play there, a little bit of wiggle room anyway. I hope. There should be. It's plastic bends. So that's the idea there. Otherwise, it's going, there's nothing wrong, I can say, that, as far as assembly goes. So let's get him over here. I started assembling the seats. And the seats are going to require you to take the knife and give the seams a shaving. I've got that one over there clamped down more than this one. Or actually, it's back there. That's the engine. This one is okay the way it is, with just the one clamp on it there, which is a paper clip, not a paper clip, clothespin. Clothespin. These are the mini clothespins. Them are the big clothespins. Gotta have both. It works out better that way. So these will be cleaned up a little bit. The bottom section you're not going to see anyway. You're not going to see most of this anyway. But at least do the sides, and the top. Because that you will see probably about halfway up this in the window, I'm guessing. Not exactly sure yet. I don't have the kit built yet to know. But just get that cleaned up and you'll be good to go. So the other thing I'm going to do is, you got these wheel backs right here, and the little insert thing you put in there, and you glue that whole thing on there, and after you put the tire and all that fun stuff, tire wheel. Well, these wheels are molded open, which is nice, but it'd be nice to actually have some brake detail behind it to see, instead of just black. So guy could go get an aftermarket brake and tire kit, which I think I've got some disc brakes from the last project, from the Mustang kit I built. I should still have another set of those brakes, but we're going to do it what came in the kit way. I think we'll see. So these wheels have the center open on them in there, and I'm hoping that they'll just be able to slide over that pin there, and we'll paint that silver, and it'll look like a disc brake. Won't have the caliper. We could paint the caliper, I suppose. We could make a little red thing there. It looks like a caliper, but I don't think I'm going to do that. It's going to be all silver. It's going to at least be something that looks like it's not just a black void behind there, as if this is going to look like. These are great if you've got drum brakes. These are perfect for drum brake applications, but we've got four-wheel disc brakes here. Let's try to make it at least look like it. So I'm going to play around with that. It's probably going to recess the tire a little bit farther into the car, I'm guessing. So I have to see if we have any clearance issues there. If not, maybe I will do something a little scary here, and maybe I can glue that to there. I suppose the other thing, that just fills up that whole wheel space though. So the other thing I could do is paint these silver and make it look like they're disc brakes. Oh yeah, that looks much better on that wheel there. That would look like a disc brake. I'm going to play around with that a little bit and just see which way I like. I guess I could use I don't know. Decisions. This is what you got to go through during the assembly process. Okay, so I'm going to use some steel buffing metallizer stuff here. This is, I don't know how it's in the camera up right. I'm just going to dab it on. It's steel, but technically this is going to be aluminum, but it's a heat shield. So, but I'm trying to go with something silvery. I want it to I want the black to come through a little bit, because it's been, darkened a little bit. So I think this will work better than aluminum, but we'll find out. I could thin some aluminum and wash it on there too. But this stuff is pretty bright as it is, so we'll give this a try, and Hopefully not completely screw it up. You know, this nice thing about this stuff is it never goes bad. God, I've had this stuff. I don't know how old it is, but I know it's over 20 years old. And it's a lacquer, I think, so it just kind of never really seems to go bad. So I'm just going to kind of dab it on here and see how that works. Well, it's not as thin as I thought it was going to be. That's okay. Few hairs and some air. Well, maybe I'll do a black wash over that with some acrylic paint. It's good not to use the same kind of paints as in enamels and on enamels and then lacquers on lacquers, because because they're chemically compatible. Obviously, a lacquer paint's going to eat up the lacquer paint, and you'll start getting some mud mixing, and yeah, it doesn't work very good. That was definitely thicker than I thought it was, so this is probably evaporated a little bit over time, even though there's an awful lot in there. So let me look at something else here. Darking, I've got some gray buffer. I don't think I've ever needed that. And these could be almost 30 years old. I'm not sure. Let's see here. Got brass, magnesium brown. I think I'll switch to a finer brush than this too. I think I'll use a little magnesium brown on that. Maybe not. I don't know. I'm trying to remember it seems like the aluminum doesn't really discolor all that much when it's a heat shield. I think I'm just going to leave it the way it is. But I am going to get in between because the heat shield is over the exhaust manifold. It looks like I got a little bit I did get silver on the exhaust manifold itself. So we're going to do some painting here. If that'll sit on the thing, I'll tire. I'm going to get the fine brush out here. It's good to get yourself a whole set of brushes, and I'm going to maybe use some magnesium brown in there to kind of make it look like it's a rusted cast iron, since that is what that exhaust manifold is going to be, is cast iron. It's bare cast iron under there. So and that's what happens when you don't get your cap wiped off the last time you used it very well. But it also seals it too better. So now I kind of want this to be a little bit thin, not as a little transparent is the word, because then I can coat it better. Can layer it. This is going to be tricky. There we go. And it kind of flows in a little bit better. This is totally, not necessary, but I'm going to get this edge right here because the cover is just going to be a cover. So you're still going to see a lot of the exhaust manifold, and I'm mixing some of it there, but that's okay. We're just kind of getting the gist of the color in there. And I'm not going to be able to see this side of the motor, but I'm You know, ignorance is bliss, and sometimes when you don't know this stuff, it's better. But it's like I know that exhaust is going to have some rust color to it even by now, because it's just the way cast iron is. I think I'll put a little bit on the bolts too, because those tend to sometimes get rusted as well. I'll give it one more. I'm just basically letting it soak into the groove there. So that'll work. That'll work. Here's our tire engine stand here. Let that bugger dry. Hopefully that's matte. Oh, well, won't really. So the thing that every modeler hates to have happen happened. I think every modeler hates it to happen. It looks really nice and glossy. That sprayed really nice. This is 2 coats. I did an initial, light dusting, and then a few minutes later came back. But as you can see, we've got some runaway spots. And I washed this, dried it. I did have to sand it up, or not sand it. I did sand a lot of these areas here, but up here I shaved it a little bit because there was a line going across up there on each side, right up in here. But yeah, it didn't start doing that until the second coat, so that's nice. I was getting ready to put the third coat on, and I saw this, and I was like, oh crap. So 2 choices here: strip it or sand it, and try to just sand those areas and hope that that'll clean up and the new coat will go on better. Of course, that's going to mean more layers of paint, and I don't really want that. So I normally use graffiti remover to strip body because it does a fantastic job. But I don't seem to have any at the moment. I can't find it. Probably have used it up. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to buy a bottle. I could use brake cleaner, or not brake cleaner, brake fluid. I think that stuff works very slow, and it's kind of hit and miss as to what paint it's going to actually hit. So, but yeah, this is, best. What does that say? Best made plans of mice and men? I don't know. You wash it, hope for the best, and you still get that, I guess. So, yeah, that's a setback. Okay, so after a little bit of hiatus on this project, we're now the day after Christmas here, and I guess I'm gonna get back on it. This is where I'm at. Did the strip stuff on it there. I had to get some more graffiti remover because I didn't have that. So this is the result of a few days sitting. It took longer than I thought it was going to, but that's okay. So it's funny is that the Krylon shortcuts, which is what that blue stuff is there, it actually held up really well to that. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but that's very interesting. Of course, the tester stuff came right off, so something to note, I suppose, about that. But yeah, so I'm going to kind of make sure that this stuff here is not going to be an issue, sand it down, make it smooth, and give it another shot of paint and try it again. Hopefully this time it'll be, it'll feel like being, stickable, I guess. So I've got some of it left there. Hopefully I don't have to go buy another can. If I do, I may just go ahead and do a whole other color because I do have another truck that's this same purple color. So I don't know. Just a little bit of a rant here. If this, Mr. Hobby Lobby Reviewer, is too complicated, 3 pieces is too complicated for you, stick to your snap tight kits. and stop leaving negative reviews and stop throwing your kits away. Sell them for $5 to someone who actually knows how to build model kits. I don't care how many you've built. That is not complicated. Okay, I think that looks a lot better. And I didn't throw the kit away in frustration because the paint wasn't working for me. See? See, that's what you do. You fight through your challenges till you get it right. Because sometimes it takes 20, 30 tries before you finally get it right. Yeah, no way there's ever a reason to throw your model kit away. But some people do. So, $40 thrown away. Good job, Hobby Lobby reviewer. Okay, so I'm fitting the brake rotors, which is essentially the pin, not the pin, the center push holder thingy, whatever we call it there, that holds the back of these on. I just flipped those around and drilled them out with the Drill Buster 9000 here. So they're kind of more or less custom fit to each of these pins, except this one I made just a little bit too big, so it's kind of a little bit loosey-goosey, but that's okay. That gives us a little bit of adjustment in case we've got a 3-wheel peel going on here. So this will give me just the right backspace from what I can tell if I put the... So this will give me just enough backspace from what I can tell when I put ye old tire and wheel combo on here. I should actually test that with the front one. I did the rear one. I need to test that with the front one. But anyway, I haven't got quite that far yet. But I just want to show you that how much of a brake rotor that actually looks just flipping it around and drilling it out. So glue works wonders. There's enough room here that I could actually put a dowel to come through into the tire itself, which I may do so that will make it easier to center this. That's probably what I will do. I got to find something that'll work as a dowel, though. Anyway, that is painting silver. Basically, all that really needs to be done to, make it look a little bit more realistic without spending any money. So that's cool. And so here's what I got going on with the engine so far. I tried to paint the lines on there with a marker. Didn't quite work out very well in the center area, but I'm going to be putting the plenum on, which is going to hide some of that anyway. So I was more concerned with trying to do the DOHC dual overhead cam and the Toyota there with the white background. It's not perfect. It's not really molded perfect either. Probably would have worked better had I stripped the chrome off of it, but this is the first time I've decided to try this, so maybe the next time will be better. I've got the distributor in there. As you can see, it does fit barely by the intake, the lower intake plenum there, but it does fit. So I just cut that long rod that they have on these distributors. I cut it down and I kind of squished it a little bit to fit in the hole that was already there. A little super glue, a little bendy of the wires later, and we're ready to install. I've also got the boots glued to the spark plugs, so that's ready to go. So we'll just figure out the lengths of those and see what looks good, and cut them, the ones I need short. They'll probably all have to be cut because look how long those are. My goodness. So cut to fit, and just like the real things, as I just about lost that on the floor. Come on, sit up there like that. There we go. I like everything else, but I think that's looking pretty good so far. Pretty sharp little engine, if I do say so myself. Yeah. Do you approve, Ruby? Ruby, are you trying to get high on paint? Yeah? Yeah. Say hello to the YouTube world. Yeah, you're trying to be naughty, aren't you? Yeah. You gonna let Daddy get back to his model building, huh? No? Oh, I figured as much. Alright, so I got the interior assembled, and I went and shined up the dash and the edge of the door and around the back, the plastics that would be back here in the car. This is vinyl up in here. I shined those up with some Pledge. Naturally lemon scent. Look at the shine on that, the way that texture comes out, that vinyl texture comes out. That's really nice. That looks really good. Probably isn't going to last very long. Maybe a month or two. It'll evaporate away probably, but it looks like the real thing, honestly, because that's what I use is Pledge, along with other car protectants sometimes. But so that's what we've got going on there. Probably got a little bit too much black wash on the seat bottoms there, but and the cargo area, but that's okay. That's what you're mostly going to see is about there anyway when the shell is all put together, so that's fine. I don't know if I can get a... I wonder why I can't get a shot of the gauge cluster here. That turned out okay. And then I got the green. I put a green marker on the display of the radio there. I put some silver highlights on everything there. Those might have actually been completely silver, but I think it looks better standing out like that, contrasting. And I really like the way that green marker turned out, because it really makes it look like the radio's on with the green display, which is, I think Toyota had green displays on the radios. So I put a little Pledge on the steering wheel as well there. So yeah, I like the way that turned out. So I just got to get the glass in the car and pop this bad boy in there. And should be able to get the body on the chassis at some point. I got to get the engine finished. And I got to figure out what I'm going to do with the wheels situation. The wheels are going to need little axle extensions to give me the right back spacing, to create the back spacing. So I did get some rod at Hobby Lobby. It's actually 2, but it's mostly coaster rod. So I'm going to see. Hopefully that was the right size. I just kind of guessed on what looked about right. So hopefully it'll either fit just right or I can make it fit. But either way, that's going to be the final step, probably, is assembling the wheels. So I'm happy with the way that turned out. It looks really good, especially when you get the contrast of the putting some shine juice on the plastics there, the vinyl, stuff like that. It really makes it stand out apart from the cloth areas. So, all right, more building time. Okay, I got the interior glued into the body using some of that white Elmer's glue, which is actually clear. That stuff is great. So I just put little globs here and some there, and there's a drop there. So yeah, not something terribly permanent. If it needs to be taken out, it can be, but it's good enough to hold it in there for probably a long time to come. So I think we're ready to meet the chassis to the body and hope that things still line up after all this gluing and bending and tweaking and hoping and praying, and well, you get the idea. Of course, as I said that, I just remembered that I gotta stick the radiator in there, and this is the time to do it because it will be easier to get to now. So I need to paint that up and stick it in the old front end there. You know, it's funny on the back of these decals here for the Supra. Product made in USA, packing materials, tires, and clear parts made in China. So what does that mean? That the body shell was made in the US and only certain pieces were made in China and they all came together somewhere instead of all being made in one country, I guess? And what does General Motors have to do with a Toyota? I don't know. I wonder if my original decals say something like that on the back too. I don't know. Interesting. So these are the decals that I think I'm going to go with. Took a few minutes to decide on all of the different various 80s McDonald's and Burger King colored stripes here. So I think I'm going to do this one. These are hard to see, but these are the little emblems that would go up here on the nose, here, and then on the side right here. And there must be one on the back somewhere, even though I don't feel it at the moment, because there's, 4 plus 2. So, yeah. They look like this. Those are just bigger. I don't know where those go. I didn't see them in the instructions. So you got lots of window above the driver's view decals right there. Wish it had a black stripe, a blackout, sun. Wish it had like a little, blackout strip right there or something. I guess I could paint one if I really cared to. And so I went with the orange one because that was easiest to cut out because it was just part of this already. And then I got the white Supra, this right here. I chose the white one because obviously we've got a dark colored car, so that would make sense, right? So I'm going to forego the hood stripes simply because I did the roof like this, and I think it would be extremely difficult to cut the decals out at this point to fit around that. I thought about just doing the hood ones, but I think I'm going to save those for one of the other Supra kits that I have, either my original one or one of the new original old stock ones that I bought, and maybe use them at that point. But for now, this is what I've chosen, so let's see how this works. If these don't conform to the body kit right here, then I might just end up using the Supra. I have a second Supra right here, what I could use too, which I think is just this without the stripe. So I got to back up to that, I guess, in case I need it. So that's the game plan. So we'll come back after I've got them on and let you know how it went. Well, it's not quite perfect showroom fresh reveal time, but this is where I'm at so far. This is probably what it's going to look at towards the end at the end of the video. I like the decals for the most part. They do seem like they're thicker than they used to be. I just don't really like decals, and just never don't know why it doesn't show up at this light angle. So, but there's a little bit of cracking, wrinkling going on that, and on this one as well. I tore it a little bit right there, and yeah, this is why I don't like decals, because I've never had the experience where the mark fit, which I've got right here, and or this mark fit. And this is microsol, not mark fit, but this is the red stuff. This is the stuff that's supposed to melt them in and make them look like paint, right? Well, I've never really had very good luck with that stuff actually doing that. But yeah, it's a good 20-footer, I guess. I don't know. That decal turned out pretty good. So the license plate, and let's see here. I mean, they don't look bad, I guess. I don't know. I'm just disappointed that they didn't conform better than I thought they were going to. I did slit the decals along the doors there on both sides while they were wet. And I had this pretty well flat here while it was wet, and as it's been drying, well, it's kind of wrinkled up a little bit there. I put some little pops in it with the knife blade there to kind of, help squeegee out some stuff, make it help conform better. I also put a couple relief slits in it there. I guess it is what it is. I mean, it looks cool, right? It looks pretty cool. It looks like it should have a controller. But yeah, I put the little decals, the little Toyota decals there. My Supra has that too up there, the Mark III. So I'm going to save these for maybe the vintage MPC kit. Might even put it on one of the Mark III kits I've got. I don't know. That might be kind of fun. I don't know what the big decals are for, but so I'm going to let this dry overnight. And we'll see, come back tomorrow sometime and see if the decals have rested themselves any better. My guess is no. I got to clean up the window a little bit there. But I almost put those decals on the hood, because once I got to this point, I'm like, it probably really needs some there. But I've got the sun visor roof thing, whatever, opened up, and it just make it such a pain in the butt to do that. So I'll save those. I might use those on the Mark III, just because that would be kind of fun. So we'll check back tomorrow morning on the old girl. I still got to put a tip on the exhaust there. I haven't decided if I'm going to use the chrome tip that's in the kit, which does look okay, or if I'll do a custom with some aluminum. This is brass, but you get the idea. Some aluminum tubing, sand it, polish it, and glue it on there. That's something I used to like to do. So we'll check back in the morning with you guys. Okay, so it's the next night, and I put some pledge on it just to see what would happen. I'm going to put something else on. Look at the shine that tester's paint has. Good Lord. Anyway, it's still a little bit, can't get the camera to zoom in there, but focus. This edge stayed up and never adhered, so I took a little model glue after re-wetting it didn't work. And look at that shine. Shiny object. So anyway, and I held it down and blew on it with, held down the Q-tip and blew on it. And then it was a little bit rough on the edge there. It still kind of is. I used my yellow, wherever it's at, I must have put it back already, yellow paint marker, Sharpie paint marker. And I touched this side up too. The side that got a little tore, I touched that up too. The wheels, the width of the rear wheels kind of been bothering me, but I think I'm just going to, put it on the shelf and display it as it is, because I have a feeling if I try to fix that, I'm probably going to break it. And, that's just my luck. So I also took this down just because I kind of messing with it there. I kind of broke the glue loose anyway, so I think I'm just gonna leave it down. Maybe, I don't know. I might change my mind here in a minute. But yeah, it's look at that shine. Look at that shine. I mean, that's just basically the natural paint how it came out. Yeah, I wiped a little pledge on it, but I don't think that really did much of anything. But hey, it's a good 20-footer. Okay, so you get back 20 feet, scale feet or real feet, depending on how bad you think it is. Hey, you might it might not be too bad. So I cleaned the window up too a little bit on the inside there, the Q-tip. So I like how that interior turned out. Let me see if I can zoom in here. Stereo, got the green indication there, the display on, and see if I can get to the dash there. So anyway, it is what it is. So I've learned a few things building this, and one is, as always, the tester's turn signal amber worked perfectly once again for turn signal color over the red, even surprisingly. And that little square, that little center square thing right there should be a little bit further over, so that's not quite in the right position, but yeah, anyway. Rear end. The decals here, I don't think they're intended for this particular body kit. The decals over here, I actually had to use the piece that goes up here to get this extended all the way. I thought it looked kind of dumb, without it being all the way. So that's how I've solved that problem. And also, I didn't have any tires that I really could make work with this. All of them were the same size, apparently. Apparently, I bought like 4 or 5 back in the day with the same size of tire sets. So kind of sort of would have worked and kind of sort of didn't work. So I just decided to go with the stock tires that came with the kit just to get it done here. I've actually been working on this maybe since right before Christmas. Can you believe it? So I bought this right as it came out at Hobby Lobby. And it came out right when it was announced on Round 2's video YouTube thing. I was shocked that it was already out. So anyway, yeah, it's been slow progress. I want to get on with something else. So lesson learned on a few things here, that the rear end is really intended for it to be without a body kit. I'll just pick which side looks the best, which is probably this side. I don't know. We'll see which side to display. But anyway, guys, now thank you very much for watching this video. I still need to put the tip on there, doggone it. Well, I'll do that. You don't need to watch that. Photos at the end of this video. We'll see you again right here on Nick's Collectible Creations. Peace out.